I don't like this
Woo!
beta thing that pops up there. Live. Oh, you hate that, Emma. I
I hate
tolerate
that.
my
Do
life.
hate that.
Live from an ES5G cafe in Meta Dublin, Meta Ireland. It's a very special Business Pants Friday. Is it special?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It is.
yes. It's
Oh,
I
the
concur.
most
I
special
just
kind.
heard why it's special. Uh, all right, I'll just introduce everyone. Okay, well, we're skipping our normal format. We're not going to do story of the week, asshole of the week. We're not going to do problematicaliest of the week. We're not going to do any of that.
Oh my
We're going to do the
God.
good game. The good game.
Are you serious? Is this a joke?
Yeah. Well, you didn't know we're doing the good game?
No,
No, no.
you called it problematicallyest
Oh,
of the
okay,
week,
yeah,
which
well.
we've changed to irritatingest of the week like
So many shows ago.
8
So-
weeks ago.
Instead of all that nonsense, we're going to skip right ahead to our newest and most beloved segment, our fancy expert of the week. And we have a fancy expert, and that is Anusha,
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
consulting
Yay.
partner with Close Group Consulting. Is that right?
Yes.
It's
I
great
think
to
I would
be
get
here.
that right.
Look
It's
at that.
I feel like this is the only time I'd be referred to as a fancy expert, so it's good to be with all of
No,
you.
I would think honestly, if I'm going to make an honest assessment, which is what I'm paid to do, you have a nice fancy, except for the background. Your background is
Aesthetic.
disheveled. But you,
Yeah.
I think you're doing it right. You got something
do.
going on.
You do have fancy aura.
Yeah, you
That's
do.
You have
I
yeah. it's a
I think I
fancy
think
halo.
I've been told that before. Like,
Slim
you know.
toned. You're ready. You're ready to
Yeah.
live life. Yeah. You
I
just have
was
to clean up your
gonna
room
wear I was thinking about wearing a turtleneck today. That might have
Ooh, see?
Oh wow.
That might have
see.
just
Ooh.
over
Yeah.
into
we
fancy.
we
Yeah.
there a turtleneck might or might not be a part of the headlines coming up. So
Oh.
we wouldn't
Is that
want to
true?
bias the
Yeah,
headlines.
I
Speaking of, what are we doing with our fancy
right.
expert?
We're playing the good game. I would be more
Woohoo!
excited, but I don't really feel like it. We're playing the good
What?
game.
Jesus.
Here's how the good game works. This is for Illusion for new listeners. Do we have new listeners?
No,
We
we don't
should.
have those.
But we have
but
consistent
Yes, we do.
listeners, so that means that something good is going on. Here we go.
somewhere. Yeah.
Anush, this is what it is. This is actually a game requested from my dear old mother, and yes, she is old. I mean, let's be fair. I select headlines that appear to be good, right? Like we do we cover a lot of negative stuff. We complain a lot. We whine a lot. These headlines just seem good. So I pick them and I run them by our esteemed experts, Matt Mascardi, Emma Lurking, and they put a score on it, 1 to 10, how good it really is. We talk about it, and then you, our fancy expert, will be our arbiter of truth. You're going to tell us who's right. Okay? Can you handle all this?
this is a power that I've craved my entire life.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. And Matt
Yeah.
understands that because he's typically our arbiter of truth. So I'm
Yeah, I'm excited
yeah.
about this.
I'm excited about
Yeah.
this too. Yeah.
You
Alright.
think by not having the title, like I'm not going to act like I'm the arbiter of truth anyway. Like,
I just like that
it's
the title
happening.
got taken away from you, regardless of whether you act like you have it or not.
Well, this is what I don't like about fancy expert edition of the good game or any of our segments, because I am the fancy expert. My shirt says it. Go to our Etsy
No,
store.
it says
You
ESG
can also.
expert. It doesn't say
I guess
fancy
that's true.
expert. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what Anuj and I are, right? And that's what.
but I
that's
have
what-
No,
I have the aura, so I
Yes,
don't know.
it's
I
true.
feel like
You have the
aura,
halo.
aura trumps a t-shirt.
Oh, God
100%.
Yeah.
damn it!
Right.
I need more aura. Where can I get that? Well, I'm going to sell that on our Etsy store. All right, let's do this. I'm
Turtlenecks,
very excited. I
turtlenecks.
love the good game. This is like
You
my
love the
favorite
good
thing.
game, do you?
Yeah,
And
I do.
Anuj, feel free to. You can tell us who's right. You can give us a score. You can do whatever you want. The power is yours, really. You can't screw this up.
Okay.
You can't.
Well, I'll
will,
tell you
but
if you screw it
can't.
up. You will.
All right.
It'll happen.
Let's start
I'm
at the
ready.
top. This is from our big data category. Want me to tell you the categories today, Emma?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Big data. This is probably our story of the week. Microsoft is buying Call of Duty publisher Activision for nearly $70 billion. And the reason why I include this in the good game is because there's been so much heinous nonsense going on for the workers at Activision that I thought, hey, they're getting bailed out. I'm calling this a huge ESG bailout, saving the stakeholders, saving the Activision employees. Isn't this good? Matt, you already seem like you're upset at this.
I mean, Well, the headline should read Microsoft acts as woke shield in ESG bailout of Activision to the cost of not 70 billion but $700 million buyout of Bobby Kotick, right? Like this feels a little like a weird mob play. Like, aren't we like buying out our like the mob boss of Staten Island and absorbing them into our?
I don't know. What you're
I don't
talking
know. I don't. This it doesn't feel like happy sauce to me. Although it is
about. I
probably
would be
good for the
thrilled. Are you
Activision.
kidding? I would be thrilled.
Well, if you're an employee of Activision, but everybody else, what does this teach you? Isn't this like an accountability zero? Isn't this basically like, yes, I can create a culture in which we rape each other and have a Cosby suite and discriminate
You're
against
referring
everybody
just
who
to the
works
top.
there?
You're referring just to one executive.
Who
compared
else
to-
matters here? There's nobody else. He gets
Okay.
$700
Fair enough,
million
yeah.
payout. 700. He basically got the Tim Cook payout for rape culture. Is there another way to like?
Yeah, we'll get to that
look,
later. I actually have a prediction about that later. Well, but yeah, I hear you. Okay.
My
enough of your-
takeaway here is this it can't
Give me a
be
score.
bigger
Come
than it can't be bigger than a 3. It's a 3. I'm
Oh.
giving it a 3. That's what I'm giving
Emma,
it.
Emma, what do you think?
1.
Yeah,
why?
see,
Why
Emma's
only,
with me.
I don't understand.
Because of what
You
Matt
wanna-
said. And so, yes, Bobby Kotick is going to get a $400 million buyout. Woohoo, how stellar. And then one ginormous behemoth company is buying another ginormous behemoth company, creating one even bigger ginormous behemoth company, which why would I rate that well? I don't
Well,
get it. It's a
before-
1.
Before we figure out who's right, I will add this other headline that I pulled today. Activision employees are optimistic about Microsoft takeover. So
Oh, shut up.
screw both of you.
Activision. You're
Anush,
stupid.
who's right? And maybe they're both wrong.
So at this point, I think that there is benefit for to rogue and score
Oh,
this myself. So I between either Emma or Matt.
okay.
I understand that the CEO of Activision getting a payout is not the desired outcome here. I think that this is the business that we and the world that we live in, and everyone's
Aw.
playing by the rules. Hey, I'm a judge, right? So everyone's playing by the rules. But and I imagine that the valuation of the firm in some ways was impacted by the amount of the payout and the bad PR. I'm optimistic, and this I'm sure will be controversial, that
No, I'm
a
with you.
Microsoft culture will certainly bring up the culture at Activision, as Matt has noted, as an ESG bailout. So I am going to go with 3, and Matt.
That's right. That's right.
Already
That
going
is
with Matt. We
correct.
should end the show because it's gonna be Matt every time, right, Emma?
No,
Are-
it's but look,
Are you
someone's
trying to make
correct.
an
I had to
enemy
someone's
of
pick,
wrong.
right
otherwise
now?
it wasn't. No, it would have been.
Anuj, I thought we
No,
were
you're
going to
right.
be
You're-
friends, and
I was-
apparently I was
No, you're-
wrong.
I'm giving you insight into who I am in the next story.
Use a carbon
Matt
copy of me.
scores
The
first,
correct.
yeah.
The correct. That's correct. All right, next story. Let me
Let's
let me
move
win
on.
this one too.
Yeah, this one's miscategorized, but no one's paying attention, so who cares? Here we go. Elizabeth Holmes. All these stories are from January, just so you know, all from January. So some of these are a little bit old, some are new. Elizabeth Holmes found guilty on 4 of 11 charges. Former CEO of Theranos.
Emma, kick us off. I know
founder,
you have
CEO?
deep thoughts about this.
I am going to go with a 4
Of course you are.
because, hey, it's higher than a 3.
That's really high.
I'm going with a 4 because, first of all, I am happy that she got charged for something. I feel like she could have gotten off freer than she did. I am upset about the fact that the 4 charges that she was convicted of were all in support of the large investors, the Betsy DeVosses, the, venture capital firms, whatever. And the charges that she didn't get convicted of were the charges for the patients that she defrauded, the individuals whose lives she impacted by falsely diagnosing them with AIDS or something, or kidney cancer, or all the other horrible things that people got diagnosed with falsely. But I also this brings me to a slightly tangential issue, which is the fact that so many men do similarly awful shit
true.
and they never
Never
get
happened.
convicted or punished in any way, and that upsets me on the side. So it's a 4.
It's a high score for. I want to point out while Matt's thinking that typically Anuj, Emma rates everything about a 4. She's an unhappy person, and you can tell from her sweatshirt that there's just something off.
There's nothing good.
Whereas
what's happening.
Matt, believe it or not, is slightly more optimistic in this game. He usually comes in around a 6, let's say. So this
It's
is
not gonna
generally
be a
the
6.
tone. Generally, the
It's
tone.
not going to be a 6 today.
Not gonna be a 6
Um,
today. Bad mood, Matt.
Yeah, moderately bad mood. But to Emma's point, look,
Yeah.
the 4 investor charges are what she was convicted of. Every other charge was the sucker charge, which is basically you're a sucker if you bought anything from Elizabeth Holmes. I have a really hard time with this, mostly because why are all the high profile cases women and people of color? I mean, literally, like right now, the Nikola CEO who got ousted is also up for charges, and for misleading investors. And we know for a fact that it's not like he's going to get convicted and go to jail. We know it's going to be some fine. It's going to be some. I'm just projecting.
I mean,
I'm giving this a 2.
You're comparing
I'm
a
giving this
truck.
a 2.
You're comparing a truck that was rolling down a hill to fake kidney cancer diagnoses. That's what you're doing.
She
Matt?
didn't get convicted of the fake kidney cancer diagnosis. She got
Plus, kidney
convicted
cancer,
of
is
the
that even
truck
real?
rolling down the hill.
I don't
She
even
got
know.
convicted of Rolly truck. That's what she got convicted of, and that's all we
All right,
care
we have
about.
a
Rolly
judge
truck.
here, Matt. So what's your
2.
score, by the
2.
way?
2.
We have a
2.
judge here, so
Oh,
let the
interesting.
judge answer.
Okay, so this is a very obviously well-known story. I'm gonna go with Emma here and a 4.
Yes.
My sort of
That's a
view
makeup
is
call. Makeup call.
it's not. I mean,
Whine about it.
if a 6, I might have gone with you.
You can do that. You're the arbiter of
I'm gonna
truth.
give.
No. I think I'm
Anuj-
gonna pick winners because I don't think it's really ultimately.
Okay, we'll pick winners.
It could have been better, right? But something's better than nothing. I'm not sure that I do agree that the media covers women fraud cases, right? They're higher profile. I'm not sure if I don't have the data to know the absolute number of cases and how many
Yeah,
of them
Matt.
are men.
Your anecdotal evidence.
I would imagine there's probably more men being persecuted for these times just because there's more men as CEOs.
Yeah.
But perspective, it was a fascinating story. I don't know if you guys listened to that podcast. It's there's a good drama, and Jennifer Lawrence has been cast in. Going back to yesterday's conversation,
J-Law?
Adam McKay's new film on Elizabeth.
And Amanda
So
Seyfried
really?
is playing her in a series.
All right. Okay. All right. Stop.
So I look
name
forward to that.
dropping.
So yes, good story.
I'll take it. Whatever. I'm the winner. Keep going.
To
right.
Anuj's point, Matt, what he's trying to say is that there are more HBO specials about Elizabeth Holmes than there were about your stupid guy from Nikola.
Anuj, we have a technical request before we move on to the next one, which is refresh your browser.
Okay.
Because apparently your computer sucks ass.
Yeah.
That's actually what
Ouch.
it says on my
I
screen.
know. I'm seeing it too. This is a good time. I'll hit refresh.
You'll be right back. Yeah.
Yep.
Anuj, we'll take a break and Anuj will come right back.
Oh, yeah. Insert commercial here, Emma.
Yeah. Insert commercial. Toyota, como uno roca. Like
God.
that
That
was
didn't
what it
sound-
was in the
didn't
that
sound
was
good.
the FIFA World Cup. That was from the FIFA. It was the actual FIFA World Cup commercials. Was Toyota como
Too
uno
late.
roca.
You already got your beep.
Oh, was it Ford?
Still gonna-
It's unbelievable.
All right.
Like that's actually a quote from an actual
Okay, stop
commercial
it, stop it.
during the FIFA World Cup.
All right. Let's move on. Wait.
Can
what-
you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we hear you.
we can hear you.
I don't
Okay.
even know what the problem was. What was the problem with his?
It
was the
keeps
audio
saying
or-
it keeps saying there's a recording failure because
Oh.
your computer space is low. You might
Yeah.
actually have to do a full restart and come back
Because
in.
he's using a Windows 98 from a Best Western in
That's
Lynn,
true. We
Massachusetts.
told you.
This
We
is-
told you to upgrade to Windows 2000, but it's too late for
Yeah.
that now.
This is okay. Let me. I apologize.
No,
not
No
my computer.
apologies.
Okay.
Truth can wait.
Okay.
Can we keep going, Matt?
Yeah, we'll do another headline. You'll come back and you'll arbit more when you come
Got
back.
it. See you in a bit.
Oh wait, he's leaving.
But I do
What's
want to
happening?
discuss really
what's-
briefly. Like this is a good time to discuss what the beep was for.
The beep,
You do that. I'm gonna
whatever
look
you
for
just
something.
said, felt offensive. That's
Felt offensive.
Yep. I'm in control of the beeper. I'm the arbiter of the beeping. I get to decide. I decide.
Felt offensive. Wow.
That's the fun of the beeper, though, is that she decides.
I did miss
do.
that feels offensive.
I wish
Mhm.
that I hate that she doesn't
thought-
do it anymore.
I was
know
actually
that-
really.
I know we're offending her.
I was really hoping though that it was a beep for FIFA, which is like a corrupt organization,
Oh, that
That's-
too.
that's
Nobody
like
cares about soccer.
like leveraging basically like migrant
Sports.
workers in Qatar for the next World Cup and like exposing them to the harshest conditions. A lot of them are like dying. It's like a secret, not secret thing.
I am very unfortunately American in the way of that I don't pay attention to soccer literally at all. So I did not know any of that. So that just adds some extra oomph to my beep. So thank you for that extra context.
I thought that's what it was going to be about, not just like I gave you the feels because I did a commercial in Spanish, in
Yeah.
my bad Spanish.
Yeah. It was so bad that it was offensive, I would argue.
Should we do another headline while we wait for Anush to come back?
Well, tell me what's happening. He's changing computers.
No, I just got to restart his computer because he's got a space problem, connection
Oh.
problem.
And
we are live right now, so I know our
okay.
our listeners are
That's why
deeply
this is
riveted.
important. Well,
by
do we have
this.
any viewers right now? Is the real question.
I think the answer is always no.
So then, why do we have to rush forward? Why don't we just tell us about you're taking a COVID petri dish jaunt tomorrow? Do you want to talk about that? You wanna
So
talk about how
you're
a giant hypericrite. ESG hypocrite.
Worse than that, I'm a double hypocrite because not only are we going, we're post COVID. We did the COVID thing. We got it over the holidays. I
Well, not
coughed
your
on
wife.
air.
Not your wife.
My wife didn't get it, but we actually are now deeply suspicious that she had it, and she might have been a source for us.
She had it. We've all had it.
And so we're going away. We're going to, but then where we're going, it makes me the double hypocrite. We are going to Disney.
On a Disney cruise would be the ultimate.
No, that would be no.
This is so
That
fun.
I will never ever cross that threshold. But
You will.
My wife and my kids were like, "Let's go to Disney. Let's do it." And I was like, "Please just punch me in the groin right now."
Well, do they
like,
mean the Disney Plus app? We can do that. Yeah.
that's where I wanted to go. That's where I thought we were going. But no, we are lining Bob Iger's pockets on his way out the door by going to Disney World. And I spent like 3 hours on hold waiting to like talk about tickets, only for them to be like, "Yeah, we have to put you back in the line for another 3 hours if you want to actually talk about tickets." Disney can suck it, is what I'm getting at.
Ooh, how dare
And
you.
I hated every minute of it. And then we're gonna go, and the kids are gonna have fun, and they're gonna want to go back, and I'm gonna hate every minute of that.
Do you like
Um,
amusement
no.
rides? No.
You actually can just do you like ellipses and
As-
answer before you ask the question.
Okay.
You don't like a roller coaster? Really?
I hate roller coasters. No.
Does
No,
it make
I
your
don't-
tummy hurt?
No, I don't want anything else to control what's going on with my world. I don't need a thing that shakes me, moves me. I don't even like roller skates because it's like I can't
So-
quite control them.
Interesting.
Your
Get out.
life possesses no sense of whimsy whatsoever.
Oh,
Wait,
there's plenty of
Disneyland
whimsy.
is Disney's whimsy to you, Emma? That's
Yeah,
whimsy.
it's a giant basically,
It's like a very
you were-
highly controlled, money-sucking environment is whimsy.
worse than that. It's
He
like
doesn't like roller
fell
skates,
for it.
Damien.
yeah, she fell for it.
Well, I'm not comfortable with the roller skates Disney comparison. I don't know if I'm buying into that one.
Well, here's the thing. when you watch television, if anybody watches television anymore, how much do you like the
Oh,
advertisements?
I love watching television.
I don't watch advertisements
Correct.
only
You
do I
don't
hate
watch.
the ma-
Why don't you watch the advertisements?
because
Can
they're
I say-
boring and they're trying to sell me stuff.
Can I say
Is
not
Disney
only that,
not
Matt,
just a giant advertisement?
Yes.
You know what I've discovered as a new dog owner, never owned a dog in my life, is that 1 out of every 2 commercials has a doorbell in it that makes your dog absolutely insane.
worse than that is that you have a dog. That's already
I thought so
you're
too.
already
I
behind the
thought
eight
so
ball.
too, but now I'm like secretly loving it. So
Get a cat. Cats are better.
I have a cat
they
too. I have a cat
they
too.
clean their own asses and they poop in a box.
Okay.
What do you need? I'm
It
all about
always
independence.
eventually comes to this.
Anoush, things have gotten
Welcome
derailed.
back,
Yeah,
Anoush.
we got derailed.
It's
See
good
what
to
happens
be
when the news
back.
leaves.
I apologize.
This is why we lost our fancy expert, because it devolved into like
Ass cleaning?
basically cats licking their asses. But
All
while
right,
you were
okay,
gone,
let's get
that's
back on
what we
track.
got.
We
That's
can
what we
Are we
got.
good? Are we
We can
good?
stay on that.
Well, let's just
I'm
stay
pretty
there. Let's live
personal.
there for a while. Let's go to our next
Emma, are we
headline
good
before it's a
tech-wise?
6-hour
We are good
show.
to go.
The tech
All
looks good. We're back and rolling.
Let's
Let's
move
do it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember this story? Twitter banned Congresswoman over COVID misinformation. Our first high-profile social media ban of 2022. Do you like it?
Should I just answer for Emma and I though?
Yeah.
This is
Go
where
for it.
I know where this one's going.
Emma
Let's see
says
what
it's
you
a, it's a 0 because they banned one of her accounts and not her
Okay.
other accounts. There, Emma.
Ironically, they
Dead on.
they did something that you probably like too, which is that they banned her, which you can't admit. Why can't you admit that you actually like that though? What's wrong with you two?
Because she has a whole other ass account to post her crazy
Okay,
shit from.
but still, they banned her. They banned something. What are you
Here-
banning? What are you doing?
Well,
I
Emma
don't know
just
why I can't get behind
banned
anything.
me for saying something in Spanish.
Yeah.
eh,
See,
Here-
Anuj, they're really hard. I can't convince them of anything.
it's bad curation.
I
Here
mean, didn't she
is-
have like no? It's beautiful curation. Didn't she have like 1 million followers on that account? Or probably many
More
more,
than
right,
that.
Emma? Because I have 1 million followers. So that's like nothing.
well, let's just say, does it matter that she got banned if the media covers every social post she puts up everywhere else anyway? Because 14 hours ago, this is not a joke, Marjorie Taylor Greene on Telegram posted
Of-
something comparing vaccine mandates to Nazi health passes. 14 hours ago, and it was all over the headlines. What's the point of banning her if we still know every stupid thing she says?
So
I'm
what-
also
so what-
giving it a
Okay.
low score. I like that they did something. It's better than the Facebook 24-hour ban, which is basically a joke. So I'm going to
That's
give this
true.
I'll give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4.
I'll agree
Uh,
with Matt's 4.
I mean, you both sound very fatalistic in the sense that no matter, even if we were to impose regulations on social media, big tech, what does it matter? That's what you're saying? Like something else will form and become a new conduit for the idiots? Like give up now?
No,
And
I'm
that's
not
essentially
saying
what you're
give up
saying.
now. I'm saying ban all of her shit.
Ban everything. How about ban everything?
She's just banned. She's just
All right,
banned.
Anuj, help me out here. They both gave it a 4.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to make both Matt and Emma happy. Go with 4. Feel like
Yeah.
that's
All
my
right.
incentive
Yes, look
here.
at that.
I
You're
think
screwing with Damien.
I'm not paying attention.
she's out there. I think attached to banning one of her accounts that does significant followers and is, if I'm correct, the account tied to her role as a congressperson.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is good, and it sends the message that we uphold some of these folks to a higher standard.
Okay.
There are no
I wasn't-
standards.
I wasn't listening because I was just kind of figuring out, like, what do I do about ties? What do I do about that? All right.
Tide?
Thank you.
Cleaning
Thank
your
you, Anuj.
clothes, you mean?
Let's go. Let's move on. Oh, this is perfect for this group, for this sad ESG forward group. Here we go. Here's the headline.
Damien.
We've moved to a new category. This is this very special hybrid category, and you'll learn from the headline. This one is a little bit blowhard index, a little bit woke data, a little bit stakeholders rule, and a little bit CEOs rule.
Oh
There's a
my
lot
God,
going
there's
on
so many
here.
things. There's a lot. There's too
and
much.
And here's why. Here's the headline. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, one of our favorite topics on these shows, says nothing woke about stakeholder capitalism. Let's do it. Let's write the old CEO letter. The old Fink
Wow, the
letter. Come on.
CEO letter. This is a big rating. This is big.
We had
this is
Anuj, what you missed this week is that we had a big argument about this where
I heard of it.
I
Yeah.
stupidly was like, I'm happy this conversation exists, and then these two were crapping on me. So that's the background.
well. There's a lot of Anush. Your entire reputation is staked on how you rate this. So
Uh-oh.
just so you know,
Jeez.
Emma,
this
why
one
don't you
matters.
start us? Did you just preemptively
Get to
give
the
it a
zero.
2 or what? Like, should
Yeah.
we just
You
I was
can
thinking
mark
zero.
me
The
down
sigh
as a sweet,
told it
sweet
all.
2.
Yeah.
sweet, sweet 2?
A sweet, sweet
Sweet.
2.
This is a depressing week so
Because I hate everything about it. He's
far. I
talking
hate
to
everything. Full
CEOs
stop.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, just period right there.
he's talking to CEOs, but what's BlackRock doing that's so impressive? Why does he have the grounds to talk to other CEOs about what they should be doing with their companies when he's not doing anything to, increase stakeholder value and rights, and instead he's saying, stakeholder capitalism is shareholder capitalism, and I'm like, I don't think that's actually correct,
Not what he
Larry.
said.
Thank you.
Blair.
Yeah, it's a 2.
All right, Matt. What do you?
I've been
Wait a
thinking a lot about this, and one thing occurred to me today because I reread the letter again today. Is
This is
basically
why we're so good. Yeah.
is Larry? Yeah, because idiots like us read it twice.
Hey, look, somebody has to. We're at least something.
Is Larry Fink basically saying ESG is the beyond meat of capitalism? Is it deep fake capitalism?
I like this. Well, stakeholder
Because
capitalism could be called sort of a impossible burger of.
isn't that what it
capitalism.
kind of is? It basically is all the same fat, all the same nutritional value. It's
Yeah.
like
Same
maybe a
desired
little,
outcome.
same
Make it just a
desired
little bit
outcome.
better, yeah,
It's meaty and it fake bleeds.
I like this.
But it's also maybe if we're lucky, like there's fewer cow farts involved. Like that's basically it's like capitalism sans cow farts is kind of what he's going for.
Which there will be if Beyond Meat takes over. Many fewer.
In which case, he's kind of not wrong. Like
Ooh.
what I don't like about the letter itself
Mhm.
is like he talks out of both sides of his mouth. Like for basically 80% of the letter, I feel like
welcome
he's
to being
saying
Matt
a thing
Moscardi, yeah.
and then he says the opposite thing. He's saying like this and then that. But I can't say that he's wrong about it's not woke. ESG kind of is in this zone that is like it's not solving a problem. It's sort of deep fake solving a problem. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna go middle of the road here.
Okay, but hold on here, and I'll give you your score of 5. He's not talking about ESG. He's talking about stakeholder capitalism.
I know.
You're
I'm lumping
conflating the
them
two?
together because
Okay,
he kind of
well,
lumps them together a little bit too. Like
I don't like that
he's
lumping. I don't like that lumping.
well, I mean, like, look, BlackRock when they go and market it, they don't market anything as stakeholder capitalism. They market it as ESG. Like everything's
Right.
marketed and the
that's their
premium he puts
failure.
on the product, and yeah,
That's
well,
their
that's why
failure,
it's
'cause
a little.
Because honestly, and this is for everyone in the ESG field. I'm talking to everyone now because you should listen to me because I'm the only one who really understands any of this. Is that
True.
you
Except our
should be
fancy expert.
if you marketed ESG from the perspective of a stakeholder capitalist view, people would understand what the hell you're talking about. I think stakeholder capitalism tells a better story, is what I'm saying. I think
I agree.
ESG struggles to tell a story. But with that, we'll hand it over to our judge. Who's right here? Matt with a 5, Emma with a 2.
So that's a great question, and something I said that I wasn't necessarily inclined to do, which is I am going to set my own score here.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I have some skin in this
Mm.
as a partner.
I don't know what that means.
Consulting as an ESG advisor.
Okay.
Versus asset owners, asset managers, and corporations on the ESG integration. But
The actual expert, Matt.
yeah. So
I have the T-shirt though.
We work with asset managers and asset owners, and I understand the challenge that someone like Larry Fink, not comparing myself to him, but
Go ahead.
in a financial firm, a large financial conglomerate, to get I'd say some of the people who are industry vets and have, a significant amount of work experience in financial services to understand that ESG and stakeholder capitalism is not a political statement. And I think that that's the audience that he is trying to address.
Right.
Stuff has gotten politicized and people think it's driving an agenda. It's not, right? It's good business. And so I think that statement, I'm going to narrow down what I'm judging is just to what you read as the headline, Damien, which is woke capitalism. I know who he's speaking to. He's not speaking to the wider community. He's speaking to a particular group of people. And I think that they need to hear that. And I thought it was a good thing. So I'm going to go, it's not, could have gone further. So I'm going to go with just a 6.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
Whoa.
I thought that sounded like 8 territory.
Does
All
Matt
that
get the victory for that,
No.
technically?
He's
No,
the arbiter. He gets to decide.
No,
I'm
it's-
still trying to keep you both
Yeah, he's-
happy too, right?
Yeah.
So
No, I'm not.
Well,
not-
no-
I'm happy with
What-
conviction. I just to lean deep.
Just so you both know, what he's saying is that you're both wrong. That's the actual
Yeah, that is the
takeaway.
takeaway. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yes.
heard that
Yeah.
loud and clear.
And I will
You
say
know
this
what?
for Larry Fink, it must be nice to live in a world where not everything is political, because I feel like everything is political. That there can be something that's not political sounds refreshing. I wish I could live in that world.
I'll say this for the record. I hate experts. So that's
All right, let's move on.
Yes.
This
it's not going to work well with the judge.
let's move on to deep fake meat
I'm trying to
category. This
alienate the
this
judge.
next headline is just as important, just as intellectual. Let's move on.
Do we have a bell? Do we got a bell?
Do we need
Bellman.
it? We need a category for there to be a
I
bell.
said
He said
deep
deep
fake
fake meat. He said it. He said it.
We hired her for one
Sorry,
thing
I
to ring the
missed
damn
it.
bell.
He
Apologies.
said it in
Bell.
Spanish as a quote from a FIFA World Cup, though. So you were reacting.
Speaking of stakeholder capitalism, here's the headline: Taco Bell launches Taco a Day subscription
Yes.
program nationwide to drive visits. Nationwide to drive visits. I don't understand any of
Yes,
that.
I love the juxtaposition between
Taco
Larry Fink and
subscription.
Taco Bell.
Taco subscription. Here we go.
I mean, Emma. First of all, this must make you super happy, so I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, I mean,
Uh,
despite the
it's-
narrative that I'm obsessed with Taco Bell, I've only been once in my entire life. So
Whatever,
individually and personally,
favorite
this
place.
does not really impact me.
Right.
On
Note
a
to our
grander-
listeners: this is the
on a-
moment where Anu is just wondering what the hell he's doing on this show.
Why did he
Oh,
agree to this
oh,
show?
I have strong opinions about Taco Bell. So,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Emma. Sorry.
yeah.
Finally.
Keep going, Emma.
So my question about this, if I'm allowed a question, is it like a delivery service? Or
No,
you just it's like a
drive-through.
pass and you can go every day and every day you get
Yeah.
a different taco.
Taco Netflix.
Taco Netflix.
Ooh.
Okay. I feel fine about this, I
She feels
suppose.
fine. Why?
5.
That's
'cause
a
I don't
5.
think I
That's a
care.
5. That's
Why?
the
You feel-
highest score today. The highest score Emma gave today was for taco subscriptions. I
Wait,
just
you
wanna
feel
say that's-
fine? I feel fine about potentially enabling people who are probably already unhealthy to get even more Taco Bell.
Oh,
It's
stop
simply
it.
not.
Stop
Oh,
it.
you're getting into dangerous territory with me, my friend.
yeah,
It
I
is
am.
simply not my
know.
job to police
support fast
how
food.
people put food in their bodies based on
your job.
location, economic status, access to fresh food.
Oh, beep him.
Don't fight me.
Beep him.
Matt,
Beep him.
Matt, what do you think?
No beef
Yeah,
necessary.
here's the thing. The subscription is 30 days, 30 tacos for $10. These are tacos that are normally $1.49.
30 days, 30 Okay, this
That's
is
a
like
deal.
supersize me. It's very exciting. Yep.
But I want to give you some alternative metrics because 30 days, 30 tacos, $10 is the thing they're selling it as. The alternative metrics are 11 grams of saturated fat per dollar spent, 1% of your entire month's worth of salt is consumed just if you leverage your taco subscription, and 5,100
bad.
calories per month. Those are the alternative metrics to think through. So it's basically one taco a day is effectively 2 full days worth of adult calories using this, according to the
What's that?
daily recommended calorie intake,
And
which is
what is
based
that
on
based on, Matt?
based
the
on like
da-
fat white guys in the Midwest. I know. My wife tells me all the time.
Wait, what?
But I'm just telling you.
I
That's
don't want
like
to derail us
that's
completely, but is that that it's based on fat
that's
white
true.
guys in the Midwest?
That's true.
Cor-
They use like
Oh, you meant the nutrition label you're talking
the
about.
nutrition labeling is
Okay.
based off a Midwestern cohort of mostly white men. Is what it is. So
Yep.
I'm not basing that. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying
But that
that's
was just
like
like your whole argument right there.
I'm not
Like,
making an argument.
really,
I'm just
all
I'm
of what
giving
you
you
just
alternative metrics. That's all. I'm not. There's no argument. I didn't.
alternative metrics based on one demographic of people.
Emma, this is why we
Correct.
left MSCI so we could deliver
I can't-
alternative metrics. Come on.
I can't
Let us-
believe
let us- come on,
actually
let us do
Emma
it.
beeped the nutritional value label cohort that I use that everyone else uses, but not that Damien is basically like saying we're making unhealthy people unhealthier. Like I got the beep. Like that's that
you know
just
what,
makes me feel
honestly,
good.
I'm
I'm
actually- I wanna
working the
hear it.
system.
I want to hear a news weigh in here. So can you get to a score, Matt?
I'm gonna give this
Yeah.
a 9 for creativity. A Netflix
Wow.
taco.
So this is good news. for me.
Despite how like ridiculous it is to me, and I would never use it, is fantastic.
Okay.
So I'm gonna here. I'm gonna agree with Matt. It's
All right.
not here's the thing. I can't get into the nutritional part of it, so I'm gonna ding that part of your argument. I mean,
Sure.
it's Taco Bell, sweet green. I think most people know what they're getting into. Taco Bell is brilliant. Like, this is marketing, and you know what? There was a phase of my life where I would do anything to get to Taco Bell every single day for a third off.
Yeah, you're
the
still living
regular
that phase.
price.
That's why it's so easy for you to conjure it up.
Street, I would certainly be tempted. There was a period of time where, when I was driving between Boston, where I live now, and New York, which is home, there are some Taco Bells along the way at rest stops, and I would seek out the rest stop at the Taco Bell and have a taco. So yeah, I get it.
Full
I
disclosure.
applaud them for a marketing tactic that will work. So
And Emma loves
can I just
every
say-
second of it. She loves.
Can I just say I didn't expect this out of anyone. Anuj is now going into full like advertisement for Taco Bell.
yes,
And Matt,
available. Yeah.
and for both Matt and Emma, this is their highest score of the week. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I honestly don't know what's going on.
Everybody loves
We
Taco
un-
Bell.
We have
Okay.
another tech problem though.
Oh.
Anuj's recording failed again.
Ooh.
And I don't know why. So we
I'm
have
gonna-
two options. One is try a different device for Anuj and have him come back on a different device and
iPhone?
filibuster for a minute. Or two is we just continue, but there is no audio for Anuj. We let the live stream go. And we keep Anuj around for the show, but we effectively have to cut his responses out as arbiter of truth in the podcast
I don't like
version.
that. That doesn't sound nice.
So
Let's
can I-
try or coming on
Try
a different
phone? What about
device.
phone? Has anyone
It's-
done Riverside on a phone?
It's asking me to refresh on my end, and on this is the second one. There is a whole bunch of crap that my wife's computer that she had up. This one I just shut down a browser. It may will work, so maybe I should
Okay,
try
let's
that
give it a
first
shot.
before we-
Try it
Give it a shot.
and turn off any
Okay.
privacy blockers. Like because literally, like if you're in incognito, if there's a privacy blocker,
Yeah.
it can't steal all your information. So that's what it's trying to do.
Okay.
So Anuj is gonna
I'm in
refresh.
guest mode in Chrome. Do you think that matters? It's not incognito.
That shouldn't be a.
Okay.
Actually, yes. That's that. If you're not logged into the Chrome, I actually think it
Really?
doesn't save anything. It doesn't save cookies and stuff.
Oh.
So
So I'll
so
switch
come
that.
back in like a browser that doesn't care about guest mode and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
And usually be right back. And while we're doing this, I might as well
Got
take
some Taco
a
Bell?
quick. I'm going to take a quick pee break. So you two filibuster
Sure.
because why not?
I mean,
it's
it's one of these
basically a
days.
shit
One
show.
of these days. I will say this, now that no one's listening but you, Emma.
Yeah.
I got no problem with Taco Bell other than the fact that I don't like Taco Bell. That's my problem.
Yeah,
If-
it's
if
not my
all
fast food
my-
of choice either.
Of all the fast food, I just find it really, I don't know, I just find it grody. It's just, I don't
You know what
get-
my true, and maybe this doesn't count as fast food, and you'll disagree with me here, but you know what my true favorite fast food is?
No.
Auntie Annie's.
You know, I don't know if I've even ever been. Like, an airport
It's
thing.
soft pretzels.
I
I
mean,
love
I
a
do love
mall
soft
soft
pretzels.
pretzel.
No, I mean, maybe when we say fast food, we mean, although no, it's franchised. Well, why is that not fast food? Sure, why not? That
I
could
don't
be a
know
nice
because
meal,
it's yeah.
right?
That's
Like a nice big pretzel with some mustard, and then like
I
some kind of
actually am a
weird
pretzel
smoothie or
bites.
something.
I'm a pretzel
Oh,
bites girl.
and now we're not aligned.
I'm I'm sorry. They fit in my mouth better. You can pop them like a snack. I don't have to like be tearing
Mm,
pieces off of a large pretzel. It's a
that's that's that sounds pathetic that you can't tear a piece off a large pretzel.
Why would I when I can just have a bite?
I guess it's like the equivalent of like a tender versus a nugget. Like I don't like the nugget game. I find that to be weird. The nuggets. Although even though
What?
we do biz nuggets, so there you go.
Yeah, I was about to say we don't do biz tenders.
How are you?
How
How are
about
you
the?
not spending this entire time talking about Taco Bell? I just
Oh,
can't
we already
We
understand.
did.
switch.
Well, I ended the. Unfortunately, it's not much of a conversation because I mean I'm not anti fast food, but I don't get Taco Bell. It's not because of any other reason other than it just all tastes like mushy weirdness. Oh, he's back.
Anush is back, and it looks good this
Yeah, it
time.
It's
does.
good. That tech choice by Riverside if you're in a guest browser.
Riverside, if you're listening, you suck.
No,
Uh,
you don't.
I
I
don't
just want
actually
an
think that. I don't believe
explanation.
that.
I actually do. I do like Riverside. Um, all right. Okay. Let's continue.
go.
Let's go to our
Let's
next
just
headline.
Cross our fingers and keep going. Staying in deep fake meat, the next headline is Beyond Meat, PepsiCo make vegan jerky in joint venture. That's a weird headline when you think about
Who
it.
needs a joint venture for that? That's-
And,
Why
and
does
how is
PepsiCo
Pepsi
have to be
contributing to
involved?
this? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, I will say when I read this
Yeah.
headline the first time, when I glossed over it, I thought it said Beyond Meat, PepsiCo make vegan jerks in joint venture,
Oh.
and I was like, do you really need a joint venture for that?
Like
They kind of do
Moby?
that themselves, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that sort of built in? I don't know if Anuj is a vegan, but he does not have a vegan look to him. He has
He
an
just-
aura
he
of
just-
I enjoy
He
that.
just,
a
Yeah,
like-
meat.
I'll take
Yeah,
that.
he just waxed poetic about his love for Taco Bell. You think he's a vegan?
I'm just saying I got meat aura and fancy expert aura simultaneously at the start of the show.
Meat
um,
aura. Okay.
5.
Wow,
Okay.
Emma, I like
Emma
that.
already weighing in with a 5.
Just
What do you think?
going right to it. I'm also going to go right to it. I could care less about this. 5.
Well, I don't. Again, and there's another area I don't understand these two. I don't understand why they're not as invested as I am into this idea of industries like this deep fake meat industry.
Make
solving
something that's
for-
not jerky and I'll
solving-
care.
Okay, but solving for a bigger problem that we all point to consistently for decades, that they could make a hell of a lot of profit by replace. I just don't get it, Anush. Help me. Am I crazy?
You know what? I mean, I'm with you. I mean, if you scored it, I imagine you would go somewhere around 7 or 8 here. So
Whatever
I'm
you
gonna-
say, yes.
I'm going to put my score on this. I'm going to say an 8. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, different people have different tastes, but what's the goal? What are we trying to do? We're trying to move people away from meat overall, or meat that has, you know, a high emissions rate. That being said, like I'm a fan of just a regular veggie burger, you know, versus a fake meat burger. Like, I think if people are going from meat to fake meat, like, take a pit stop in the veggie world. Like, try a veggie
Actually, I
burger.
like this.
Those are good
Yeah.
too. You know,
I like
those
this.
are
Matt, I know
good
you hate
and
this.
probably good for you. So, you know, if you're
Look, and
really there, like, try a veggie burger.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't care about that, but estimates that in 2017 suggested jerky was about $1.5 billion in sales, right? And a little less than half of Americans, and this is according to Simmons National Consumer Survey out of
Simmons.
U.S. Census information, a little less than half of Americans eat jerky on some regular basis, right?
Okay.
I'm not making it up. I'm pulling this from the interwebs, who's probably making it up. But when you insert this, what percentage of those people are going to eat fake meat jerky,
Okay, but that's not the point, is it? The point is that there's an issue with
I'm
the meat
saying
industry.
there's a lot of joint ventures you can do with something like Beyond Meat. You can make a lot of things that, and if you want to move the levers of cow farts, is jerky one of the places to start, or
Okay,
do
now we're
you
just
go
all right.
go somewhere else?
We're
You
too
do something
esoteric now.
broader.
You
That's
gotta
all I'm
shut
saying.
Matt up.
That's
Let's
all
move
All
on.
right, let's move it along.
It's what we
That's
call
awesome.
Let's
out
go
of scope.
dystopia. Dystopia, Emma. Here we go. Robinhood to let most employees work from home permanently. This is the era. This is the age we're in. Permanent work from home. What do we think about this? As we get closer to the metaverse.
Fine. 7.
You like this? You like permanent? I mean, you do
Yeah,
work from
why
home
not?
permanently.
I don't know. If people want to work
Yeah.
from home, let them work from home.
Well, okay. Emma said something to me earlier in the year that totally blew my mind because I'm an old man. But which is that I told her that I lived in New York at the same age as Emma did, and I said to her, "I'm sorry that you have to work for us and work from home, and you don't get to go like to an because I was never home when I lived in New York. Maybe I get home at 5 a.m. Blah blah blah." She's like, "No, she likes it. People her age like working from home." So I'm the dinosaur here, right? Yeah,
That's true, but
yeah,
I'm your age, and
sure.
I love working from
You
home.
love this,
I
okay?
hate the
But
idea
you
of
have
going
8
into an
kids.
office.
You have 8 kids.
I don't like humans though. Like the idea of having to interact with them
You
in
like your
any
genetic
way where
offspring.
they're like physically in my space and I can't like get around them.
Right.
I'm giving this an 8. I like it.
Okay. Now I want to hear from the man who is working out of a Best Western business center. What he thinks.
Using a
He's
Windows
the-
95 laptop.
He is the true arbiter here. What do you think about this, Anuj?
I'm going to build to my selection. So, Matt, I understand you have a business that is essentially, it allows working from home. It's a model that allows working from home. I, too, lived in New York City at Emma's age and even beyond. And I very much enjoyed going to the office. I think office camaraderie, I think making friends in
Overrated.
the office, socializing with people in the office, it was a big part of my
People are
youth.
terrible.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but you worked at
And-
MSCI.
Yeah.
That's true, I did.
This was a different. And I think that why it's more acceptable right now is because many people are working from home. But when we get to a point where there are people that are in the office, people that are working from home, the people working from home will certainly be missing out on stuff that's happening in the office. More shit happens in
Right.
the office. So we're essentially just getting to a world where Emma pointed out, which is just the flexibility. If you want to work from home and you can't work from home, if you can get to the office or you want to get to the office a couple days a week, get to the office a couple days a week. Now, Robinhood said permanent working from home, which is different, right? So they're not going to have any office. They're not really offering that flexibility. So I'm going to go with Emma's score.
Ooh.
Because I don't know, it's like, why not offer the flexibility to people rather?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Right? I'm
with
not
you on
saying
that one.
small firms, it's very different. Competition for talent. You don't have to hire in your local geography. So companies can get bigger. But I'm like,
I agree, and but I do think there is the risk here is the pampered generation, which is Emma's generation. Which
Well, but there are other risks that are. But there are other risks
if I want to. And I can do
that are revealing
BD.
themselves early on, which is that there are risks to women and people of color of falling behind even further by having a more difficult time sort of asserting themselves, like in a structure, like a promotable structure. Not that I know anything about being promoted, but I'm just saying, like there might be some risks involved here that we haven't fully picked up upon. Just putting that out there. All right, let's move on.
either
Emma,
way,
yeah.
I don't know. I think some people
Right.
find it easier to speak in a Zoom world than maybe in a conference room, just because it's person at a time.
Yeah, it's an
rather than a
important
conference room.
point.
Yeah.
It's an important point because I do think the boon here is for introverts, and introverts I think have a lot to contribute to offices, and having worked in offices for years and seeing how difficult it is for introverts to contribute to that environment, I think that offices miss out on that because they typically have strange and bizarre insights that need to come out, like better ways to organize the cockfighting going on after work, like things like that. We need those kind of contributions.
Speaking of
very
cockfighting,
specific.
let's move on.
Let's talk about chickens. Then
How
I'm talking
does,
about chickens.
how does that not get a beep? Taco
What?
Bell.
I'm talking about
got a beep.
chickens. All right, let's move on. Here we go.
Look at this
Okay,
bias.
billionaires,
This
the
beep
category.
bias.
Okay, billionaires. As a story you covered this week, Matt, more than 100 millionaires signed an open letter asking to be taxed more heavily. Does this contribute? Is this good?
Look, I'm gonna do this quick because I love that the cohort of the 100 millionaires is the headline, but no one actually looked to see that the millionaires are 52% female, despite the fact that 85 to 90% of millionaires in the world are male. This is basically women with money care. That was my
like it.
takeaway from the headline.
takeaway.
I'm giving it a 10 because when you dig 1 nanometer underneath, you realize what it really is. So I'm giving it a 10.
Interesting.
10.
Wow.
Yes, out of the gate.
No explanation.
Anuj, be
Nope. I'm done.
Yeah, I'll
the
give you
jerk
that.
says
I'll
this
give you that.
isn't-
Here's the explanation, Anuj. I'll try to do this quickly. Matt just informed us that he has a 3 p.m. call, so he wants us to kind of pick up the pace. That's the
I'm telling-
explanation.
So
go ahead, Anuj. No
That's
pressure.
good rationale. So again,
Yeah.
I'm going to do something that I said I really wasn't intending to do, and I'm going to go lower than both of you on this.
Ooh, I
I'm
like
gonna
it.
go for like a 7.
Yeah, I think you're right, Anuj. Can't be a
What?
10.
I mean, if you want to be taxed more, fucking pay more to the IRS. And be
There,
taxed at
I
a
like
certain-
that.
And then you could make a
That's actually
donation
true.
to the IRS.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
it's
get
actually true.
asked in my paltry income, like, do you pop this up and give us a little
Paltry
bit
it
more
is,
money?
yes.
And I'm like, fuck you, no way. But you're
Yeah.
signing a letter that tax more, then pay fucking more in taxes.
I like it. Anuj
write
has
a
woken up. I
check,
like it.
man.
I
Like, I don't-
I like that.
Yeah.
So
All right.
like, yeah, that's not. Write a check. Don't wait for the
Yeah.
politics. Like, write a check.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Politics take
surprised you two
forever.
going for a 10 on that. How dare you?
Look,
know?
I
Right.
I
Hey,
just
Matt,
focused on the
women want
women.
to pay more in taxes. Like,
Yeah, who's stopping them?
yeah, I don't.
Moving
I
on
mean,
to stakeholders rule, the category on that. Stakeholders rule. Here we go. And we coined this long before Larry Fink told us that stakeholder capitalism was not woke. I'm just putting it out there. Here we go. Goldman Sachs profit falls 13% as it raises bankers' pay. Is that good?
Damien has
Yeah.
already predisposed my rating to this headline, and I cannot get his words to stop ringing in my head. So my number is going to be a 5.
You want to share what those
Because-
words are, or
Because
No, we're just gonna let it linger.
because I
like a
don't
fart.
remember?
my rating is a 5 because Damien pointed out to me that the way that this headline is written is Goldman Sachs profit falls 13%, so they put the negative thing first as it
Right.
raises bankers' pay. Like they felt the need to associate a pay raise for people who I'm sure are not paid as much as they should be and are overworked and need better benefits, whatever. But they're like, oh yeah, we raised their pay and look what it did. Our profits have fallen. So
I'm
I'm happy
agree
about
with
the
myself. I'm gonna
pay
agree with myself.
raise, but I'm upset about the way the headline is written.
Matt.
I mean, look, in Goldman's case, they actually added 8% to their staff, on top of the fact that they increased wages. So there's
not
actually
the whole story.
multiple factors going on
Yeah.
that's not in the headline, right? Like it just says pay went up, but it didn't say they added they added
Right.
almost 10% to their staff.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
like it's
New
not
York
just pay
Times,
went up.
Come on.
And I agree with like actually you've now made me think about like they did order it in a way that makes you want to hate it first, right?
Yeah.
Like
Not as dumb as I look.
yes.
But I also sort of don't care about a bunch of bankers that make
Okay.
$400,000 a year, like
True.
getting a pay raise. Like,
yeah, exactly.
like it is also like a sort of a bunch of whiners who are. I mean, the disparity for them is like we could go work at Facebook and feel like we're saving the world and make equally, if not more money than working here where it's about making money and we don't feel like we're fulfilled. Okay, go do that. Like you're not going to save the world over there either. You make plenty of money. You want to save the world, come join us in the not woke stakeholder capitalism with Larry Fink on this side of the fence. I don't know. I don't care. It's a 5. It's a 5. Who cares?
Both have a 5, Anuj. Anyone right here?
Yeah, I think they're both are. So I'll
Yes.
I think the headline, obviously reads in a way that you're
What are you
wanna
celebrating?
question it. But all probably more than that, and they can still afford to pay raises
Right.
to their
True.
analysts and associates. Those are the ones. They're the workhorses. They're producing all the work. I was surprised to hear Emma kind of support pay raises for bankers. That being said, the compensation rates for analysts and associates and VPs, I've been following all of these announcements in the news over the last week and a half as comp day has. They're wild. They're getting. You're paying young people. I get it. They work their asses off, but that's a lot of damn money. So into reality kind of
Yes.
money,
Right.
right? If you come in
But
as a
right.
22-year-old and you're making 200, 300,000, the rest of this country, that is money that they will never
Damien froze this time.
Bye, Damien.
dedicated line.
I actually I tend to wholeheartedly agree with you in part because like my wife when she had to do her residency, they changed the rules for the class that followed her residency, and it was my wife's class could work like 120-hour weeks, and the class right after her could only work like 80-hour weeks or something like that. And so every year, they actually pushed my wife's class to the limit because they knew it was like the last time they were going to get this. I feel like we're the generation that basically poured our like time into this stuff, and we had to like grind for 5 to 7 years before you got paid. And today you join ESG or you join and you're making $200,000 out of the gate, $300,000 out of the gate. And you're just kind of like, what the hell, man? Like we ground it out. Everyone should grind it out. I know it's like an old man view, but I do feel
That is an old man view.
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's
I'm
not
allowed
talk
to be an
about it
old man.
anymore.
I'm allowed to be an old man. Damien, it's a 5. We all agree. What's the next one?
New York law would require fashion companies show social, environmental impact. Where's the governance impact? Is what I really want to know. But that's the headline. Is that good?
10.
Sounds pretty damn good. Oh, that easy. Matt,
Yep.
come on. I don't think Matt's gonna give this a 10.
Look,
I
I'm
don't care.
all I'm excited for them all to move to mushroom leather. So I'm going to give this a 7.6.
I mean, disclosure is good, but there's a little bit more to the story, right? Well, news.
Yeah,
who's
there's a
right?
revenue component to this
Yeah.
where they'll fine you a percentage of revenue, and it's about size and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Who's
one
right
I'm
here, News?
familiar with this story. I'm gonna go with actually posted something about
Wow.
this on my LinkedIn and have with what I posted on LinkedIn. It's government, it was business, it was industry associations that all kind of came together, and Stella McCartney was involved in this. So were involved in this. But it was what you want to see in terms of legislation. Just politicians pushing legislation. It was a coordinated effort, and I think it will absolutely have an impact. Now it's limited to New York, but it would be interesting
Right.
to follow the story and see what happens from here. So I'm going to 10.
Yeah. Usually it's New York and Massachusetts. No, I'm sorry. Usually it's California and Massachusetts that do something. New York's playing. I like it.
They're getting in the game.
Yeah,
Getting
and the
in the
fashion
game.
houses are all headquartered in New York, right? At least they're U.S.
Yep.
Until they
subsidiaries,
now
so-
move to Italy, where no one cares.
Or Jersey City. Here we go. Our last one in stakeholders rule. Tom Cotton
Ugh.
says Warriors co-owner should be forced to sell his stake in the NBA team following his comments that nobody cares about the Uyghur population in China. We covered this one extensively. How do we feel about this? It's a loaded
–
headline.
This is pretty loaded.
Yeah.
Emma, why don't you start?
I
'Cause
mean,
it's tough because Tom Cotton is as we pointed out, has said many deplorable things in the past. So, are you supporting him here? What are you doing
that's
here?
the thing, is that I don't necessarily disagree with his sentiment. I don't love the stuff that Chamath said, and I would rather him not have power and assets and stuff and influence, but it's Tom Cotton saying this, so I'm at a crossroads.
I love that this hurts. It makes
Well, are
Emma's brain
you-
break.
It really does.
I mean, I don't want
It's
to
a
go too
problem.
long on this, but are you aligned with the thought that he should sell his ownership for one comment?
I don't know. I'm at a loss, honestly, on
Okay.
this one.
Hey,
This
it's
one,
fair.
this is the one that makes my
Give
brain
it a 4
hurt.
and move on.
I'm gonna go with a 0 because I don't know
Ooh,
what
I
to
like
do.
it. All
Oh
right, Matt.
wow! Dude, that's a harsh ruling when you don't know.
Matt, it's funny because we talked about this because we've talked about CEO pay clawbacks, and I was wondering earlier, what about ownership clawbacks? Is that a thing? Can that become a thing?
I love that concept. I love the idea that if you are an irresponsible owner, that
Bobby
your
Kotick,
ownership gets clawed
as an
from
example.
you. Yeah, well, if it gets clawed from you for 700 million, does it really teach you a lesson about being an irresponsible owner? But like to Emma's point, look, Tom Cotton said the Holocaust and that was a necessary evil, and said slavery was a necessary evil. And he simultaneously is deep in on like the Federalist Papers and free market economics and Adam Smith and all that stuff. So he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Chamath said something that I think actually Chamath is saying the thing that most people think of his like millionaire billionaire ilk, and that doesn't mean it's right. But I have to say, like, it's nice when someone says what they think, and I'm not sure. I don't want to applaud that he said what he thinks, but I also kind of want to appreciate that I
Oh,
get
God.
to hear what he
Your word
thought.
salad. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot going on, so I'm giving it a 5.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Interesting. I agree. There is a lot going on. I'm gonna go with a 1 here.
Ooh.
So I guess it's Emma. I mean, kind of close.
Yeah.
0. She went
Well,
up.
I
you
like that
saying-
Anuj is getting in the game where
No.
he's just giving the score now. He's
Yeah,
just
no,
giving
Yeah,
no, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
this
Go
is
right
good.
at it.
And Anuj, that it doesn't go to Emma. It goes 1 is not
Just to
what
me.
Emma says. 0.
Oh, right.
So I'm
She
just
said
saying, putting it
0.
out there.
So yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I did. I mean, listen. I just don't like the weaponization of cancel culture. Like we're with this stuff. It's. I think most people don't feel like cancel culture has gone off the rails here. Tom Cotton is a senator from where? At least Golden State's in California. Like, I just, this is my bigger picture stuff of like a politician is clearly politicizing and weaponizing cancel culture, right? It's a senator. I can't stand behind this stuff. So,
Okay.
Wow.
It's bad for society.
I like it.
I like it.
Let's move on to our final category, woke data.
Yes. Don't say
Yeah.
woke.
It's funny, we replaced the term ESG with woke data because we couldn't bear ESG anymore because no one understands what it is, and we picked a term that people equally seem to loathe.
Yeah, Larry Fink literally said it's not. So
It's not. So yeah, I apologize. Here we go. The first one is a very important topic here. Mars rebrands its female M&M's chocolate characters, ditching high heels for sneakers, probably made by Uyghurs, to make them more representative of customers. Weigh in, Emma. You begin. You had the best eye roll.
it's an eye roll as the sneakers were made by Uyghurs.
And I will say, as you're still thinking about it, Emma, I mean, this is also kind of a weird metaverse play, right? I mean, won't these characters thrive in the metaverse? I'm thinking.
Oh yeah,
I
the
mean, I
M&Ms
would
in
not
the
be
metaverse.
surprised if Elon Musk ends up like suing Mars because they try to make their own Mars metaverse,
Right.
and Elon is like,
I
no, but
like it.
I'm
I like it.
taking humans to Mars, and then once we get to Mars, I'm gonna do a metaverse on Mars, and it's gonna be a nightmare. um,
Can you
but
do a metaverse on another planet? That's a good question.
That was
Well,
a
the-
metaverse.
It has to
well,
be
I
your
mean, I
Wi-Fi.
assume, yeah, there's gonna need to be another internet on Mars unless we can get Earth Wi-Fi.
He's got the
onto
satellites.
Web
He
4?
owns the satellite company that does the
course he
internet, right?
does.
Like
The
he
ones
owns
the cats are
Starlink.
loving. All right. What's your score, Emma?
Anyway, this is a 5.
Matt?
Look, it sort of is perilously close to reversing stupidity because you did have for a really, really long time an Eminem wearing high heels, right? Like that was never necessary, right? Like that Eminem
Hey.
was never sexy. It was never like it's not work attire that it's in.
Could have been in
It was-
drag, for all we know.
It could have been, but we know that it wasn't because we know it was like a white male and Mad Men,
Oh, it was a green M&M. How dare you?
Cigar Room coming up with it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the green M&M was supposed to be the one that's about sex, right? Like an aphrodisiac, because the green M&M chocolate somehow is different from the other M&M chocolate.
Yeah.
Whole thing was sort of stupid to
greener.
begin with. So it is reversing stupidity, which Anuj, you don't know this, but the way we used to play this game, I used to always have a cap on what you could score for when a company does something stupid and then reverses it. Simultaneously, everything Emma just said about the metaverse and the Mars to Mars, that just made me really happy. So I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
Higher. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, there it
but
is.
I genuinely agree with Matt here, which is Eminem in high heels. Perhaps it made sense. I think there was a time where it made sense. It's probably like a small sliver of the 1950s. But it's
Yeah.
it's
For-
definitely
Foregoing the
outdated.
idea that Eminem had legs, right? Like you're okay with
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
which
you're
is
okay, okay.
creepy.
Fine with that.
Are M&Ms vegan? Probably not, right?
Oh, interesting.
Probably
Dairy in
not.
there.
Probably a crushed beetle's like snout or something.
Vegan M&M. Like it feels like
Yeah.
it can happen. Call me. But it's, yes, it's a sign of the times. I'm seeing a lot of people wearing sneakers these days. So
I thought you said a lot of M&Ms with legs. All right, here we go. Let's move on.
yeah.
Okay. I chose this one because we now have another ESG expert in the room, and I just didn't understand it. So I sometimes I pick headlines on news just because I just want someone to teach me what's going on in the world. Here we go. The headline is carbon price could spur global economy. What the hell are you talking about? It sounds good though, right? I mean, I feel like it could save the world, but why? What is it?
There was a
Glad you
fancy
guys-
chart that went along with this one.
There's a fancy chart. Okay.
Look, effectively, the concept of a carbon price is that price. There's a carbon budget, and that price gets passed down to consumers through mechanisms of it costs you something for this asset that we've never priced before. Now it's an input to your production process, and there's a cost that you bear, and that goes down to the consumer. And by increasing the prices of certain goods, particularly luxury goods where the carbon cost is high, right? Like to buy a yacht, there's suddenly a very large carbon cost to that should get added to that yacht. Where to buy, certain foods, and I'm sure they subsidize the carbon costs in ways that don't disadvantage or limit the disadvantage to people who can't afford it. You'd spur the economy by effectively taxing heavy consumers of luxury goods who have wealth through a carbon price. And you don't necessarily do that somewhere else. It's a version potentially of trickle down, except the trickle down is
Right.
through something that's like an unpriced asset. Like I don't believe that trickle down didn't work. Like as a theory in and of itself, where you don't tax the rich and they spend more money and it goes to people who have none. In this country, it didn't work at all. This is a way where it's
Reagan.
like you basically tax the rich through consumerist behavior and pricing an unpriced asset, maybe it works better. I don't know. I'm going to give it.
Well,
I like the concept.
Interesting.
I like the
Yeah.
idea. I'm going to give it an 8 because I like
so
it.
it's like a coded tax for the rich, is what you're saying. Because you can't
yes.
arbitrarily increase a sales tax based on. I mean, you could, but we don't increase sales tax based on your net worth. But since Emma can't afford yachts, but her buddy Elon Musk can, I see what you're saying. I like it. I like that. Okay, Emma.
6.
So Matt with the 8, Emma with the 6. That's Emma's way of saying I don't want to talk about carbon pricing. But Anuj, who's right here?
And the 6. It's a
Oh,
complicated market. I think that headline is a little, is this a case where you have to, I hope, read the article?
clickbait.
Matt,
Yes, you
Matt
clickbait.
gave a very good explanation. I think there has to be a lot of rules around there. I'd be worried that a carbon tax would increase prices of some essential goods and hit low-income people, wealthy people. So the application of that, the devil's in the details. So I'm a little more cynical.
I like cynical. I like
Yeah.
cynical. 6.
Yeah, we know.
6 is
Yeah.
fine. 6 is fine. Fine.
See, I
We got 3 more left here for our good game, January 21st, 2022, joined by our fancy expert, Anuj Shah, who is our arbiter of the truth of the week. And Anuj, I'm enjoying your presence, which might not be good for you because that means we might want to invite you back because
Because
I
only
like-
do damage to your
Yeah.
reputation.
I like having someone in the room constantly disagreeing with these two chuckleheads. So it's amusing me at least.
keeping a balance, so it probably overall,
Yes, thank you.
keeps
Thank
things
you.
in equilibrium. Yeah.
I am going to buy you a new laptop though and ship that off. to you.
Well, I'm likely to send you a giant case of vegan jerky when this is
Oh,
done.
fine.
That is
New
your high
laptop
score
and
this week.
vegan jerky. That's like a good
What a
night in.
dream.
All right.
That's the dufecta.
Here we go. SEC. This is where we get really nerdy and really expose who we are. Here's the headline: SEC pushes for more transparency from private companies. What?
It is
Before I'm going to let you run on this one. What about pushing for more transparency from public companies too? But hey,
Thank you. Thank you. There's my answer. I don't need to
that's
even
your
give
answer.
it.
That's a number.
No, literally, we know the companies are not forced to disclose the number of employees and how much they pay them in
Crazy.
most cases.
Crazy.
And we're out here looking for what companies who aren't listed, who aren't public, to get more information about them. Focus on the basics of what we don't have in public companies already. This is a waste of our focus, and we're only doing it because unicorns now command a tremendous amount of power. Most of them are unprofitable, and they're unicorns because SoftBank made them unicorns. I'm giving it a 2. Just focus on the good stuff. Focus on what we need. Focus on what we need. We lost the
lose
news,
him?
but he'll come back. He'll come back. He's back already.
Maybe is this a preemptive strike? Is this foreshadowing? It's a preemptive strike because they know that Facebook/Meta is about to go private. Is that what's happening?
Oh, no. There's no way. They're fake. They're fake public already. Why would they have to go
Yeah,
private?
exactly. Why
They
they
don't
go
have to go private.
I'm filibustering here so we can.
No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Emma, just to answer, and Anuj will come back and we can summarize.
5.
No, see,
you-
you're
and you-
supposed to take a little bit longer than that.
And let me add to this, actually, Matt. Why I'm thinking about Larry Fink's letter once again because I think about it almost constantly.
That's sad.
Why he seems to be a proponent of stakeholder capitalism. Why not push for more public company disclosure? Because how else are we gonna figure out stakeholder capitalism without more data to support the research around it, right? I mean, maybe that's something that he could contribute to almost immediately.
I do think if Larry Fink made a phone call to the SEC and said, "Look, this
time.
is a serious thing. We're the largest investor in the world. We need your help doing this thing," Larry Fink could get it done. But I don't know why we're talking about it in. So Anuj, just to summarize,
Yeah, here's what you missed.
Emma gave it a 5. for mostly reasons that she doesn't care that much. I gave it a 2 because my thinking is, why are we focused on private markets when we don't know how much employees are paid in publicly traded companies, right? Like we only get total comp at banks or diversified financials and maybe a pharma company or two. But for the most part, we don't know what employees are paid. We don't know how many there are. We don't know basics at some public companies. Why are we talking about private?
And
Yeah,
and I very eloquently wondered why, if this was a preemptive strike against, this is foreshadowing that they know that Facebook Meta is going to go private, and maybe it's a preemptive strike. And
that's not true.
why didn't Larry Fink include even more disclosure in his letter? Maybe he should push for disclosure, because how else are we going to figure out the stakeholder capitalism nut? But that's
So tell me my 2 is correct, Anuj, and let's move on to
So
the next
here's
one.
I'm gonna admit something. I actually missed the headline with my
The headline is
issues. So
SEC pushes for more transparency from private companies.
okay, I'm gonna go with Emma here on a 5. I think
Emma's
we need,
starting to clean up here, Matt.
we that is a good thing. I think there are probably people that are nervous about that. I think a lot of the private companies and the people that invest in private firms, the firms or the asset managers are looking for that as well. We need more disclosures in the ESG space for sure. We need more consistency. We need regulation. But having private companies have more of this type of disclosures, I think overall is a good thing. So I'm going to go with the 5.
I mean, it can't be Matt. I appreciate your point. I mean, you kind of you twisted the logic there, and you twisted the meaning there. But it can't be a bad thing to have more disclosure from everybody. But you're right. We need more out of the public companies. All right. I will say, Matt, you can't win anymore. By the way, you're falling behind the score so gravely that you.
There is no winning. There's just being
Oh,
right, and I'm righter.
I'm gonna announce a winner. 2 more headlines. Staying in woke data. Israel capped CEO pay for banking executives at $1 million. Capping.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a currency question? Is that converted?
I would assume so, but it's not a great answer. Assuming.
No, it's not a great answer.
It is converted, and it's
also
down. Well,
yeah.
Here's the context, right? That they were paid on average about $3 million. So it'd be the equivalent in the U.S. if the average was like $20 million you got paid as a CEO, of dropping it down to like $4 million or $5 million, maybe $7 million, right? Like it's a drop, but in Israel, the drop was not as severe as it sounds if you dropped a U.S. bank CEO down to $1 million.
Right.
That's
okay.
context.
I'm gonna give this a 6.
Why only a 6?
Because why just banking execs?
Ooh.
Why just banks? Why can't
somewhere?
Is there?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm just saying that maybe executives of other large companies should have their pay capped. Nope.
In other corporate governance jurisdictions, not the U.S., they do sometimes apply regulation specifically to the banking industry. Like they have different, and this is not in all countries, but they have different requirements for, say, committee membership, whatever it is. So sometimes banking does get a little bit more scrutiny. I mean, Matt, maybe you would know. I mean, you're the MSCI banking expert. That used to be on your T-shirt, but now it's
somebody replaced my T-shirt. Yes, so banks are maybe outside of utilities. They're the closest sector to utilities in terms of regulation, right? Like they get heavily regulated for a lot of the things they do, and still somehow manage to break the economy in the process. So it's not like they're totally regulated, but you do bring up sort of an interesting side question, which is how big a sector is banking in Israel? That's a question I don't actually know the answer to. I don't know, if banking's like 5% of Israel's economy, and the rest of it is like mining or making quilts or I don't know some other sectors, and those CEOs are making the equivalent of $20 million, and we've capped, bank
All right.
CEOs. That's
You're way off. You're way off on a nerdy tangent.
But I
both
do
of
think
you.
that- but
Let's talk
there's a-
about capping executive pay. This is what we're talking about.
the fascinating part of what actually happened here is they capped the executive pay. This happened years ago, and now they're going back and they're looking 3 years of data, and what they found was, yes, they capped executive pay. The sky did not fall. The banks actually have,
COVID
the
happened.
value of the banks has gone up slightly, and there's a caveat to the rule that it was $1 million cap or 35 times your lowest paid employee, right? And so what they saw was banks actually did raise the lowest paid employees'
Ooh,
salaries
I like it.
so that it fell inside the rule. Simultaneously, they also kind of cheated by paying their subsidiaries, like Bank Leumi has a subsidiary in New York, and their highest paid employee in Bank Leumi's New York subsidiary now makes 2 or 3 times the CEO's pay, right? Because they're paying them more at the subsidiaries because the rule doesn't exist.
Okay.
So I don't know really how to take this, except to say that capping executive pay did not damage the profitability of the company, did not damage the
Nor would it
talent
ever.
available
Yeah.
of the company, and it did, in fact, increase the lowest paid employees' salaries.
Interesting.
I have to give it
What a
like
win.
a 6.9.
That's it.
Like it does feel
That's a 7.
well,
for,
they're gonna skirt rules,
for our
right?
math
Like,
scholars. To 7.
oh, geez, don't round me. This is a precise
I mean,
science.
honestly, I think that that was a great explanation, Matt. And
That was.
a
Yeah.
7, a 7. It seems too low. Anuj, what do you think?
So I'm actually going to go lower.
Oh.
There
I'm
he
gonna go
is.
5 here. And
Whoa.
I did learn something from Matt's lecture there, so that was
Lecture.
interesting. Thank
Did
you.
feel like
That's-
one. Did feel
that's
like
again,
one.
that's a compliment. I don't understand. I mean, the way that the headline was written, it sounds like they actually cap pay at a fixed amount. So at if it was a $1 million. Why do that versus what Matt was talking about, which is a ratio of the lowest wage to the highest wage in a company? Because you're going to have to continue to revisit that. That makes no sense to me, just from an efficiency perspective. Can't use an amount ratio like something.
Yeah, it does feel
static.
bizarrely arbitrary, right?
Yeah,
Just like,
it sounds arbitrary. Banks, there are smart people that work at banks. Like compensation structures will alter, and there'll be deferred comp, and there'll be warrants, and there'll be units, and they'll pay them what they deserve to be paid, or maybe what they feel they should be deserve to be paid, or what the market holds. So having again like a fixed amount to me doesn't really make sense. Like I'm sure in the U.S. if you had that, people would still be getting paid, right?
well, it's a good point because it's sort of the bane of compensation experts, of like corporate governance experts, is to have any kind of pay that's not formulaic, that's not based on numbers that are tied to other numbers, right? Like you're right, like it's discretionary at its heart, and you think that they could do better, right? They could tie it to something else.
Yeah, and then again, my sort of take on this is I'd like to see more diversity in the upper ranks of these firms, and I don't want the diversity to come in and then the pay is cut. That kind of sucks, right? So, you've got all these black and brown people in senior leadership positions, and hey, guess what? Now our pay is capped. Like, no, I mean, let's see, share the wealth.
It's going to happen. That's happening.
It's definitely going to happen.
Once
spoken
I know
into
that's
existence.
I never thought of that.
That is deep
pessimistic
cynicism, and
view.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love all the words you just said.
What? So what score are you giving it, Anuj? You're not
A
agreeing with
5.
anybody?
A
5.
5.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like I won again.
No, you didn't win. Emma, you gave a 6. He gave a 5. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
Matt
make this
gave a
any
7.
simpler. Really? Do we have to have a lesson of populist math?
We're doing
lesson?
closer than.
No,
Emma's doing
This isn't
closer
Price
than.
is Right. Let's end the show with one more headline.
Yes.
Or at least end the good game. Here we go. Ooh, this is a good one for me. After overwhelming success with a 4-day work week pilot, tech company Bolt makes it permanent. 4-day work week.
I don't I cannot conceive of a reason why I care about the company Bolt, considering I do not know what Bolt is nor what they do, but I do care about a 4-day work week, and for that reason, I will give it a 9.
Emma's
think
already
you're already
working like a
basically there.
3-day
Yeah.
work week.
I was
mean,
gonna
let's
say, I'm
be
at
honest.
2,
I
so
wish.
yeah.
Look, this is like squarely in Damien Dream territory, isn't
Yes,
it? Like
yes.
scrolling salaries on the wall of every office, so everyone knows what
Yep.
everyone gets paid. 4-day work week, and 100% female CEOs for the next 100 years. That's like the Damien Dream trifecta. I
Don't
feel
forget
like
the stand up comedy from everybody. at
Oh
the corporate
yes,
area.
and every employee is forced to do a stand-up comedy routine annually.
Every year, annually.
That
See,
every
that one
like
just seems torturous.
No. Why? What's torturous about writing? Well, creative writing.
well,
Damien, do you want to hear a stand-up
Yes.
routine from everyone you work with at a
10
100
minutes.
plus person company?
Absolutely. Have you
10
ever
minutes.
worked? Have you ever worked not in your home?
No.
10
Yeah.
Believe me,
minutes
you
of
would want to hear the inner workings of these people.
There will be
look. Yeah. I love
the
humanity.
unintended consequence of that particular one is like
Beautiful.
employees who are incredibly shy or introverted throwing up backstage,
Correct.
not willing, like
I'll coach them
traumatic
through it. I'll
Christmas
coach them
party.
through it.
Yeah, that's the
lawsuits.
I don't.
Lawsuits of CEO Damien who's forcing them to get up
Look,
and
you can
make
read
an
your
ass out of
shopping
themselves.
list. It can be absurd. It could be like Kaufman territory. We
Your
don't have
concepts
to-
are
yeah.
changing all over the place. This is not a
Right.
coherent plan.
Yes, but I like that it's part of the Damien Dream like
All right, get off of Damien and talk
quadrangle.
about the headline. Come on.
Um,
4-day work week.
I don't know that this 4-day work week works for everybody. I know as a person who runs his own company with you fools, and I'm not talking about
including you,
Anuj,
Anuj.
who Anuj runs his own company with another fool, right? Like we all basically kind of like work for ourselves in some way.
Yeah.
I would never work 4 days a week, mostly because like I run the thing and I don't want to work 4 days a week. Now Emma may sit there and be like, God, I wish I worked 4 days a
Yeah.
week because like Damien and Matt are asshats and I don't want to work for them. I think there's nothing good or bad about this. I don't know why we work 5 days and not 4 or 2 or 7. I don't really care. It's whatever works for your company. And I feel like whatever doesn't exploit your workers, I'm happy to give this like an 8.
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
care.
whatever works for your company. If you're saying it doesn't exploit the work, I mean, I feel like
No,
you're
but like if
unusually hypocritical for that statement.
no, our work, if our team, like I couldn't make Ari the Data Queen, who's not here today, but I could not make her work less than 9 days a week. She
true.
just does it. Like she just
But
goes
that's not
and does it. It's,
necessarily a good thing.
I tell her, go home, stop signing in. I'm not texting you. I don't stop working. There's nothing to do right now. And she does it anyway. Like, what do I know? Like, so
well,
it works for
as
us.
Anuj doesn't know, I am an absurd Francophile, and I very aligned with the idea that there should be some work-life balance. But Matt is a Franco hater. Is that it? What is that term?
I'm Franco indifferent. I'm mostly
Right, okay.
like.
So what's
I
your
like
what's your
French
number
fries.
here?
That's what
What's
I
your
like.
number here?
I just like French Canadians.
Oh, that's
um,
deep in Damien territory.
So here's what I don't understand. If it's the Bolt, I'm just going to judge the headline. So if it's the
Yeah.
Bolt that I know, which is a rideshare company based in the UK, I was
Yes.
in the UK in December, and I did take Bolts a couple
Ooh,
times.
Good name
and
drop.
had a conversation with a driver who is doing quite well in terms of how much money he's making per week. 1,200
Yeah.
pounds, I believe, is what he told me.
But is it an employee of Bolt or is it a gig worker?
But,
Do
so that's
you know?
what I don't understand. I thought
Right.
that it's a gig worker model.
Yeah.
So 4 days a week, I mean, you kind of make your own schedule. So is this just is this a greenwashing thing? Like, I'm not
That's a
certain.
good question. That's a great question because it probably
I was-
doesn't apply to that driver,
Yeah,
It
right?
doesn't
I'm not
apply
sure,
to them.
But maybe
Yeah.
Bolt's model is that we do hire employees. I don't know enough about the firm, right? But how
Right.
are they
I would assume that
differentiating
they're talking about just
themselves?
their corporate employees.
It's only
Yeah.
permanent employees.
So not the drivers. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to give it a 5. Like, I don't.
Okay.
I agree with Matt. You know, it makes you less 4-day work week. Like, some people are going to work 5 days, some people will work 7 days. If that's what you want to do.
That's the
as a
problem, I
company,
guess, is that
go for
getting
it. Does it
everyone.
increase productivity in the other
Yeah.
days?
Matt,
I
what
don't
was your
know.
score?
Mine was higher, and the Bolt is actually an e-commerce developer company.
Ah.
It is not the rideshare company.
Not
Oh.
the right shit.
But I like
Uh,
the angle on news. Let's just pretend
I
it is.
do like the
Yeah.
angle because it is interesting who that applies to and who it doesn't. This is a Silicon Valley based company, which means they're probably using a lot of contract work, right? Like most of these Silicon Valley companies use a lot of contractors, and I don't think 4 days a week applies to contractors. It's only full-time permanent employees according to the article. It's interesting because it's like who gets excluded is really the question. I gave it a 9 though, or I gave it an 8.
You
I
gave
gave
it an 8.
I gave it an 8.
Yeah.
You gave it an 8. Fascinating, Matt. So no winner there. All right, that's it. That's the good game for January 21st, 2022. Let me. I'm going to give you my results. Usually, I give an average score.
It was a bit
not-
of a tech nightmare. I
gonna
apologize
do-
to Anuj for that. Our fancy expert did not get fancy tech
All right, let me announce the
Uh,
winner. You just be
that's
quiet.
white
over
glove
there.
Yeah.
treatment.
Usually we do scores. We're not going to do scores this week because we had our fancy expert,
Oh.
arbiter of truth, Judge Anuj, and so I'm going to tell you who he thinks won the most rounds here, and I'm going to say that first of all, you tied twice. Okay, 2 rounds.
Right,
We had
okay.
16 rounds, tied twice. Matt, you only won 2 times, twice. Matt,
Wow.
Matt Mascardi. Look at that. You can see the sag on his face a little bit.
I don't
Emma,
need
whereas you
validation. I was
won-
right.
You won 5 times.
Wow.
But the big winner here really is Anuj himself, who agreed with himself 7 times over
Wow.
the 2 of you.
all
So
right.
Anuj is the big winner of the week.
That is
I
why
love
we
it. I
have
love it.
fancy experts. That's why we need
I'm an
them.
expert. I'm an
Yeah,
expert.
no, this is the best outcome for me too, because I just love that both of you lost so significantly.
That's
Win-win.
true. That's
Uh,
sad though. I do want to know that my average, I believe, was a 6 this week, and Emma's was a 5.25. Emma's is surprisingly high.
That's pretty high for me.
Yeah, she
If
didn't
I-
want to seem like such a downtrodden person.
I think
like
having a
Anuj.
fancy expert means
Yeah.
Emma is terrified of sounding like the hate-filled
The end is
Gen
nigh.
Zer
Playing the
that she
game.
is.
She's playing
Yeah,
the
she's
game.
playing the game.
She played the game. She played the
Played
game.
it well. She really beat Matt. That's a
Yeah, I
good
did.
game. Before we get out of here, Anuj, we typically have a category of
Parting
who
gifts?
won the week. Who won the week?
Oh yeah, this is high level.
we'll get to
Looking
our
back on the
predictions.
week,
won
who
the
do you
week?
think won? I mean, there's only one winner, right? We,
Oh, no.
Damien and I talked about this really briefly in pre-production. I'm gonna just go out and say Bobby Kotick won the week.
Yeah,
There's no
that's,
way the
unfortunately-
CEO of
unfortunately,
Activision
that's
Blizzard
yeah.
did not win this week. Like, he
Unfortunately.
brought home $700 million. He got an ESG bailout. Everyone's going to forget his name in a year. And there's no prosecution. There's no nothing. He gets the shiny veil of Microsoft around him, and he rides off on a pony as a billionaire. Do billionaires ride ponies? I think that no, they ride space dildos. So he gets in his space dildo and rides off into the future. He's the big winner, not just of the week, but he's got a year worth of winning coming. Good for him.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you on Matt, but I will say that he potentially invented a new category of executive severance, calling this the golden showers parachute.
Oh God.
And you can edit this if you want to share this with the news with anyone. You can edit that part out. It's fine.
No, you
I-
can't.
Give me
That's
the
what
I'm
it's
sorry.
called
on
now.
that one.
This isn't my workplace, Emma. I'm sorry, but I didn't create the environment that Bobby. Kotick
This is what it's called
And
now.
Ari, the data queen, who's not here this week, she actually voted for Anuj. Anuj won the week. So
No.
2 votes for Bobby, 1 for Anuj. Emma, what do you think?
Unfortunately, Bobby did win. There's
Okay,
just
so-
No,
argument.
Anuj loses.
So Anuj, I don't know
It was
if you had
competitive
a
up
vote.
until Emma.
If you had a vote, it wouldn't matter. Who do you think won the week, Anuj?
It's hard to not say
No pressure.
me, but yeah, I'd say maybe Larry Fink. I think he
Yeah,
Another
he
good
typically
choice.
would have won the week, but this Microsoft acquisition really sort of stole the headlines.
yeah.
But I think you're right. My instinct was that
Fink.
Fink won the week.
Yeah.
A Fink
All right,
win.
Before we wrap up, we usually give our predictions. I don't know if any of you have any, but I can. I'll say mine somewhat slowly. Give you time to think of it because I know you don't do your pre-show prep. My
I don't do
prediction
anything.
is that speaking of Bobby Kotick, I actually think that the severance is going to be reduced. I don't think he's going to at least walk away. So the proxy statement for Activision Blizzard 2021 says that he should make in the territory of 300 million for a change of control scenario, a termination with a change of control, which is what this is going to be. I don't think I don't I think it's a bad look. I think Microsoft is on its ESG ratings game. I don't think there's a company that plays that game better. And I'm not saying that they're doing it out of for greenwashing. I actually kind of, much as Emma hates me saying this, I kind of like the way Microsoft operates itself in this way. So I just think
I
if
roll.
I'll just say this: if they don't reduce his severance, I'm going to be very disappointed in Satya Nadella, the guy that is that the guy I picked to go to Mars with, or did I pick Sundar Pichai? I don't remember.
That was a while ago, and I
Yeah.
think you picked Satya Nadella. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Anyway,
picked.
that's my
I
prediction.
picked Branson.
I think it's reduced because I think it's ridiculous, and it can't stand. I just think yeah they're gonna yeah. Anyway, that's my prediction.
Yeah. Go ahead, Emma.
I had a much more boring prediction, but
Go
based
ahead.
on
Mine was
this
pretty boring.
episode,
Yeah.
I have a much more exciting prediction based on something I said earlier because I'm obviously a genius. And it is that Mars, the candy company, will have a metaverse. A la Decentraland, a la Nike's metaverse,
Mars
where you
itself.
can create your own
Mars.
M&M persona, and you can walk around a chocolate universe as your
that's happening.
chocolate avatar.
That's happening.
my
It's not.
prediction.
It's not winning the week, but it is a prediction. It won't happen in the next week, but you're 100% correct. Yeah, there's
Yes,
no
I
way
know.
that's happening. And
Any other predictions?
like I'm going to follow up on yours, Damien. I actually think that there's either or a shareholder lawsuit or a class action lawsuit from the employees to claw
Well,
back
definitely.
all
Ooh, I like
of
that.
Bobby Kotick's
I like that.
severance. And I think that because, as you pointed out rightly in a show earlier this week, something like 9 out of the last 10 shareholder votes on Kotick's pay
Yeah.
were
10 out of 11.
10 out of 11 were actually pretty significantly against his pay in some way. There was a significant cohort that was against his pay.
Mhm.
And I think shareholders are not going to be thrilled with the fact that literally of the $70 billion that Microsoft is spending, almost $1 billion is just going to Kotick himself in the end. I don't think that's going to stand. I think there's going to be a shareholder lawsuit to claw it back as excessive.
And I don't know if you have a prediction on news, but before we get to you, Ari, the data queen, who's not here again, her prediction was that Anuj will never talk to us again. That's her prediction.
That's not a bad one. It's not
So
bad.
I can tell you that won't come true. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Ari.
I absolutely will. No,
He's
I've
sucking up
had-
now.
I've had a great time. I don't know. I don't think I have my own prediction, but both
That's
of
fine.
those, in terms of the M&Ms and the metaverse and crawling back the pay of coding, seems like they both will happen. I mean,
I'm
they're
gonna
not
make a
mutually
prediction.
exclusive, so
I'll make a prediction for you, Anuj, which is there. Anuj and Tamara, the close group consulting, had 10 ESG predictions, trends
Oh,
for the
yeah,
year.
right. Yeah.
And you can go to their website and actually get all 10 predictions
Yeah.
rather than our slapstick, stupid ass, spur of the moment predictions at the end of a dumb game show. You can get real predictions from real people instead of our dumbass predictions.
fancy experts.
I'll say that. Our fancy expert predictions. Is that all we got? Do we have to go
That was
through a bunch of
hurtful. That's
beeps? Emma,
can
did
say-
you
why don't you
take
just-
notes on the beeps, or are we just?
No, let's just get outta here.
I like just real time beeps.
Why don't you thank our fancy expert Matt and get us out of here?
I want to thank Anu Shaw and Close Group. If you need an ESG expert, you got one now. I have the T-shirt. They actually have the expertise. Call them up and you can ask them any questions that you want. In fact, we should send you guys T-shirts so that like you'll fit in when you go to client
you.
meetings. Thank you for joining us. This has been a Business Pants Fancy Pants edition of The Good Game. I am Matt Moscardi. As Emma Lurking, Damian Rollis. We are Free Float Media. If you like this, despite the technical difficulties, we know you did. We know you like this because guess what? When you go to parties and you got to talk about like what you do and no one gives a shit, we're giving you talking points that they care about, right? Like it's not just wonky bullshit. We're giving you real stuff. Send this to a friend, subscribe, share. You can get us live on YouTube and all those places, but you can also get us on Apple and Spotify and Google and Amazon and all the places you get podcasts, Overcast. I don't know. Actually, our Podcast Republic is a big thing for our listeners. I don't even know what that is. So thanks for listening to us there. But if you want to catch Anuj, go check out Anuj and all his social. Go to closegroupconsulting.com. You can also check us out on all those social places. We'll be back next week. I won't because I'll be licking handrails at Disney World. But these fools will be there, and you can catch more of them next week on all our channels. Goodbye.